Hello and welcome back. All right. We're about to do our final round of 8 match. But we're all, I don't know. I'm shaking still, guys. Absolutely amazing matches so far. DreamHack Summer, another great set of games. It's basically the point I'm trying to stammer out here. It's absolutely been amazing. Hopefully this next match will be just more of the same. For those of you at home, if you need a reminder, please do hashtag DHOpen when talking about this stuff. Let's try to spread the word. But I also want to take just a quick second to give each and every one of you guys a big shout out. You guys have been an amazing audience. Thank you so much for this, rather. I'm sorry, my brain is actually fried. But you guys are awesome to work with. Big shout out to the DreamHack production, of course, putting this all together. And just thank you guys so much for having me out here. It's been absolutely amazing. Okay, well, let's get these next players out here because I got some questions for them, and then let's get into that match right away. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for My Insanity Stardust and Quantic Hyun. All right. Okay. So, Stardust, my first question for you is, who are you?
Just a strange man.
You're just a strange man?
Yes.
All right, very good. So am I. That's good. Yeah, he's good. That's a good answer. I like it. Hyun, you've performed very well in the GSL and IPL. You were a guy that won a lot of money there as well. What does DreamHack mean to you? What does playing in these foreign tournaments mean to you, if anything at all?
GS랑 IPL 성격 잘 냈는데 지금 해외 대회 같은데 와서 드림핵 같은데 너한테 얼마나 중요한지 그냥
잘 못 내는 이유가
아니 드림핵 같은 대회 같은 거 얼마나 중요한지 너한테
제가 네, 저는 지금 유럽 대회를 이제 앞으로 계속 많이 할 거고 중요하게도 생각하기 때문에 이번 드림핵이 정말 저에게는 중요하다고 생각합니다.
There will be a lot of European tournaments that you're going to attend within this month or the next couple of months, and for him, foreign tournaments are really important, and especially this DreamHack is really important. That's why he want to win this.
Now, I want to do an experiment. I want to pretend that real life is Twitter. In 140 letters or less, your reaction to life losing to some guy from Sweden. Stardust, you're up first.
Yes, Twitter 그냥 너 쇼가 렉나 이긴 거 어떻게 생각하는지 그냥 설명해 주라고 느낌 어떻는지.
And we do use cuss words in Sweden. That's totally fine.
짧게 그냥.
It's just first time. Just one.
Just say no more, please. I understand exactly what you mean.
Just the first time I'm watching just no smile anything.
Are we going to use this mic? Just one mic? Like the Eminem song? Hyun?
쇼가 렉나 이긴 거 볼 때 어떤 느낌인지.
일단 제가 스웨덴 세 번째 참가한 건데, 드림핵을 세 번째 참가한 건데, 첫 번째 그 스웨덴 버프를 느낀 거는 저기 있는 토르제인 선수가 이제
He has the app for longer answers on Twitter. Go ahead.
He wants to talk more. Let him talk more.
No. 토르제인 선수가 이제 버프를 받아서 최정훈 선수를 이기고 이제 우승하는 거를 보면서 느꼈고, 두 번째는 몇 달 전에 있었던 그 나니와 선수를 보고 느꼈고, 오늘 또 다시 한번 느낀 것 같습니다. 쇼 선수를 보면서.
Actually, he was a third time at DreamHack. First time he saw like the Sweden buff with Torstein winning the tournament. Then last time, a few months back, Naniwa making it to the finals, and now today it's the same, like show beating live and making it to the semi-finals.
All right, so a little bit of respect for you Swedes. One last question. Going into this last match, question burning on everyone's mind. Who is your favorite actress?
Favorite actor?
Sure. Or actress.
역시 좋아하는 유명상이죠.
브래드 피트?
Good answer. Same for me. Hyun, in 100,000 words or less, your answer, please.
You?
Oh! All right. Still think we're trying to translate the actor-actress thing, but I do accept. Thank you, guys. It's going to be a great match. We'll see you soon. Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are set. The board is ready. And now our casters, Apollo and Mr. Bitter's brother, Vinny, over there at the desk. Thank you, guys.
In control, you are one of a kind, my friends. As we are now ready for the last quarterfinal of the evening before we move into the semi-finals. I'm still a little bit speechless as to that previous game we just saw, that previous set.
You know, it was so intense, and then even considering, and we both said it ourselves, he wasn't really supposed to win that game, but he wowed everyone, and I'm really looking forward to the round of 4 here. But we do have another match to go through here: Protoss versus Zerg, and a match between two people that know each other pretty well, actually.
Yeah, they know each other really well. It's a good point that you bring up. Both of these guys, a long time ago in Brood War, used to be members of a clan called Dream T. Hyun and here we have Stardust, used to be members of that a long, long time ago. They were both Brood War professionals back in the day as well. Stardust right there on screen was one of the first Kesper players to move to a foreign team, Team Light. And we'll see how he's going to perform today. He hasn't really done anything in the StarCraft 2 scene, a big burst until today. This tournament, he's really put a lot of results out there.
Yeah, Stardust, I think, definitely showing a lot of people up. And, of course, you know, kind of one of the interesting dynamics that pan out here, having being able to cast a lot of Quantic in the Acer Team Story Cup. Stardust has actually come in as, you know, you can kind of have one player outside the team come in and play games, and he's actually been helping their team out. They're very familiar with their play styles, working together and almost as if they were on the same team again. And I think that's going to make a very interesting impact on the way this series is going to pan out.
All right, well, we'll see how this is going to pan out, because a lot of people throughout the tournament, including myself, every opponent that Stardust meets, everyone said his opponent's going to win. His opponent's going to win. Especially in the previous round where he went up against Violet. Everyone was like, yeah, well, Violet's going to make it to the round of 8 and we'll play on from there. Well, guess what? No, Stardust beat him 2-0. The games that I've seen of Stardust this weekend, very aggressive, lots of good control, very strict builds, very fast builds. So he hits at a time that's sometimes faster than opponents expect.
Yeah, and that's like, I would say the hallmark of his style. And you know, Hyun is another player that likes to play aggressively, but against Protoss, he does favor more lair tech-based compositions.
Yeah.
We're more likely to see Hyun try to play for something like Hydralisks. However, this is something that he could abuse if he does go for an aggressive build.
Yeah, we'll see. Do you have any predictions for this then, for coming into this last quarterfinal?
You know, I would gladly have said that I think Hyun's ZVP is very good, but
Yeah.
Stardust, he's shocked and awed us more than enough in this tournament. I cannot call this match.
All right, let's find out how this is going to unravel before we hit the semifinals. Remember, the winner of this game will go up against Show.
And here we are on the map that is Belshir Vestige, spawning in the bottom right position as the red Protoss player. Not too many people expected him to get this far. It is from My Insanity, Stardust. And there he is. And spawning in the top left position as the blue Zerg. This guy's been destroying online tournaments since online tournaments started. From Quantic Gaming, it is Hyun. Quite poised there.
The quacks of the crowds.
Yes, there's overwhelming ducks everywhere.
Just you wait till Jaedong plays. Just you wait. All right, let's see how this is going to unravel. There are ducks everywhere around me right now, and it's actually coming through the microphone. All right, we have an 11 pool.
And this is interesting.
This is very interesting, considering there's a probe scout really early on, and now Hyun's like crap.
Yeah, it's weird. And I think this is one of the things that can happen when you're sort of playing a little bit of mind games and you know each other's styles. He's not going to take any chances with Hyun doing anything ridiculous. And scouting this spawning pool is going to give him a pretty good edge. He'll be able to get a forge down. He does have the pylon position at the front of the natural expansion. Walling this off is going to be a little bit difficult. How exactly does Stardust respond to this Apollo without losing too much? It's going to be a little bit interesting. The forge is starting. The spawning pool is going to be complete pretty soon. As far as how many Zerglings he's going to be able to make, though, I feel like he's going to have enough time to be able to get a cannon to defend this.
Yeah, this should be perfectly fine to be built. I mean, all he needs to do is just create a wall off. He can delay his Nexus simply because there's no spawning pool. He doesn't need to take a major, lead with his economy because his opponent's already kind of hurt himself a little bit here. So that's all the focus is. He's even got down the Nexus. He's not worried about this whatsoever.
Yeah, and we see Hyun, it's a good point. He's not really committing to a lot of Zerglings anyway. And the cannon will start. The Overlord sees that. And Hyun, I feel like he would have wanted that cannon to start before the Nexus. He might be a little bit disappointed as he flies in there, but neither of these players are going to be able to mind game each other that fast.
And it's only built to Zerglings. So, I mean, if we had seen a preemptive wall off with your structures, Stardust would have won it. Hyun would have won that kind of wall there because despite getting the 11th spawning pool, he only got a single set of Zerglings to chase down that probe and didn't commit to anything more behind it. So, this is great for Stardust. A nice early Nexus and an early spawning pool that didn't really do anything in this game.
Yeah, so it's fun metagames, I think, is one of the things that is going to be a hallmark of this match, just because these players do know each other pretty damn well.
Yeah.
The gateway is going to be completing soon. Hyun, however, does have that gas in his main base. Versus this kind of setup that Stardust has, what might he be looking to do with that?
I mean, with this gas coming down, he can do anything. That's the thing. The possibility is endless here. He can go for circling speed and just stop mining gas and just have Zergling speed to make sure he's safe and has map control. He can go all the way up to lair and do something back crazy. It really is anything. He can keep mining gas and eventually throw down double evolution chambers. It really is too difficult to call at this point.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting, especially considering that Hyun will typically favor almost always trying to get that fast third base. He really loves playing the fast third, getting the gas geysers around maybe 545 mark, something that we see pretty standard, but really forgoing roaches and sticking to Hydralisks. This Zergling speed opener could be Hyun saying, well, I don't want to do anything that's going to be predictable, especially against someone that's basically played in team matches with me.
I think it's really good to be able to get Zergling speed against a very aggressive Protoss player. And that's what Stardust is. In all his games so far this tournament, we've seen 7 gates, 8 gates, Warp Prism all-ins, Mortal all-ins, a variety of different attacking strategies. So getting Zergling speed early is not a bad thing here. He's going to be able to chase any pros, make sure there's no pylons anywhere, hopefully, and just kind of keep control of this map and make sure he knows exactly the point that Stardust tries to do something.
We do have a Zealot kind of sent a bit forward there from Stardust. Not going to be able to do terribly much. That +1 attack, though, Apollo, looks pretty damn early. We have the robotics facility starting up as well, and no other gateways or anything have been added. The gas geysers and the natural have not been taken yet. What kind of plays can he make here with this setup?
With this robotics facility, he can absolutely go for a single observer or just go straight to Immortals. And the possibility of going for an Immortal push rather high. Doesn't necessarily need to go for it. The other option as well is, so you got your standard straight up Immortal push. There is the option for the Immortal Colossus push as well. Maybe a super safe kind of third base, but I don't really like that with going for the robotics facility. In Zerg versus Protoss on the Protoss side of things, when a robotics facility comes down like this, they mean business. They're not messing around.
That's a very keen observation, as we do see the third base now coming up for Hyun. He's getting his lair together. As far as what we're going to see, it is going to be that observer, because, and I think, interestingly enough, those extra 2 gases being taken in the natural, he's not going to go for a huge gateway timing behind this. We do, however, have a Twilight Council and a second Forge, so Stardust wants to get moving a little bit more into the upgrades, and this is a slightly unorthodox setup that we have seen. It doesn't look quite like that aggressive play that we've been seeing out of him.
Yeah, I actually really thought that he wouldn't throw down the second Forge. And with throwing down the second Forge here, he's going to be able to get this +2 attack and +1 armor at the same time. If he's going to try to upgrade across double Forges here, he won't have the Stargate come down. He really can't afford to get the Robotics Bay and go Colossus. He may still go Immortals, but he absolutely should be looking towards getting a third base quite fast in this game. Because, I mean, he's playing for the long game. You know, double Forges is longevity in a matchup like this.
Especially with that Twilight Council. There's not too many plays you're going to make or all-ins off of double Forge. So the third Nexus does start, and Stardust, I really like this setup, and I feel like as far as the mind games go, delaying the third base of his opponent and getting his own is a nice touch. These Zerglings for Hyun do run in, but he's not going to be able to pick off a sentry. He doesn't really cause too much damage, and of course he's not going to be able to deny that base. He does, however, have scouting information. He has his lair complete, and he's getting Glial Reconstitution. I'm very keen. I really want to know when Hyun's going to get this Hydralisk Den. There it is.
Yeah, Hydralisk Den coming down. I think he should also get a +1 attack kick until he's got that Evolution Chamber down. Kind of early. Infestation Pit 2.
This is
I'm looking at this. He has got all 6 gases at the same time here, but going for the Infestation Pit and the Hydralisk Den, it's a little bit confusing to me because you'd think that he'd want to commit to using Hydralisk, right? But if he does that, then he can't really make use of the Infestation Pit.
Well, one of the things that Hyun does that's kind of a bit interesting and different from other Zergs is not only does he stick to a lot of Hydralisks, the Roach speed upgrade is a little bit interesting, but he hasn't actually made any real Roach numbers yet. He hasn't actually committed. We do see Hydralisks, though, and Hyun can move into a fast hive play. We've actually seen him go for quite a few times in his Team League matches, the Hydralisk with a lot of Vipers, and this leaves him a little bit more vulnerable to Colossi, but he basically relies on very good abducts to keep himself in a solid position. So as far as the setup goes here, +2 attack is coming in. The Overlord checks once again on this third base. Not really that many probes there yet, but I feel like with this hive coming in, that's what we're going to see. Just a Hydralisk Viper, something that Hyun really likes to do against Protoss.
But there's a lot of ground units with really good upgrades here. There's no Colossus, so he's looking to bring in the Colossus, but that's not how his opponent's playing, so I'm not too sure how this will work out. Sure, he can still bring in the Immortals, but if it's very heavy Hydralisk play, the Immortals aren't going to be that big of a deal anyway. It's going to be the DPS from the rest of the units, and especially if we see continued upgrades coming. So +3 attack and +2 armor before he goes over to add in on splash damage. That means the Robotics Bay and eventually the Temple Archives. I'm not too sure how effective what we're seeing Hyun aim for is actually going to be.
And I think he's starting to realize that this isn't exactly coming. The Overseer gets a lot of scouting information, and as it sees that there's no Colossus production, we have the Enduring Locust upgrade begin. And I think this is a smart response to abuse the lack of Colossi, since those Locusts can be so strong versus straight-up Gateway armies. Both of these players are playing at a pretty high level of metagaming, at least what they're scouting. And Hyun, this is a pretty good response to a Colossi-less style.
I thought that that Stardust may have wanted to move out a little bit earlier. He can always recall, remember. But he is at really good upgrades now. His pro count's only at 57. He's throwing a lot of resources into his army, adding on a couple more gateways too. This is a nice little timing he's hitting here, but does he have enough units? Remember, there's quite a ton of Hydras, 16 in total. A ton of force fields.
And we do have a couple, or at least the first couple of Vipers making their way. Now, force fields are going to split off a lot of these units. The Hydralisks have that range upgrade. They can shoot quite far beyond those force fields. He's actually going to chew away quite significantly at these Zealots. But like you said, this is a very powerful push. Yeah. Stardust, though, needs to step back, warping a couple more of these Zealots. The Time Warps are going to drop. He wants to commit here, catching the Hydralisks of Hyun. He's going to be able to chew through those. The supply getting closer and closer, Apollo. Enduring Locust is done, but there are no Swarmos on the field. 10 Hydras and 10 Roaches. Will this be enough to stop Stardust's push?
This is incredible timing here, and more Zealots are being walked in. He's got a lot of force fields to actually trap units here. He may be able to just pick up the win straight away. Vipers are coming in there, completely useless. 4 Hydras on the left-hand side, going to be cut off. Force fields now need to cut around these Hydras on the right-hand side. Perfect force fields here.
And Stardust is just completely destroying everything that Hyun has. And we do see Abduct trying to pull the Immortal across the force fields, and he can kill that a bit more effectively. But with the DPS of his army being so low, having so much of it chewed away, losing the drones with this natural expansion, the Zealots getting on top of those Hydralisks. I'm not sure that there's too many things that Hyun can do right now. He doesn't have the cost effectiveness in his army to deal with the firepower of these Immortals.
Yeah, this is a great timing here. A great push out by Stardust, and he is crushing everything at this point. Hyun, though, we know his macro is incredibly good. He's trying to fight this back. We saw him earlier in a great TVZ against Gumiho, being able to fight back. But right now, he's going up against it. These Immortals are paying to deal with. Good force fields once again.
And this has just been a fantastic composition choice by Stardust, recognizing that Hyun loves going straight for that hive with the Hydras and hitting a timing where he doesn't have the actual units he needs to deal with this setup. And this is just a really great use of understanding what his opponent's been doing. He's forced it off that main base. He's now going to continue onwards towards that third, perhaps, leaving the sentries behind. A very smart decision. He's cut off the army, cut off the reinforcements, and these Zealots, Immortals, and Stalkers are going to be able to take out this third and the fourth.
Wow, look at these sentries saying, you ain't leaving that base anytime soon, mate. I'm just going to keep force fielded wide, destroy everything else you have, and then I'll return to kill this army. Excellent strategy here from Stardust. Look at that.
Yeah, and the Zealots beginning to press in towards that fourth. The Stalkers and Immortals are making their way, and he doesn't need the sentries to actually fight. He has such a larger army. Anything that comes out of these hatcheries won't be enough. The drones being pulled as well. They're not going to fare very well versus these Zealots with that +2 attack, and Stardust looking poised to take an early victory here in this best of 3.
Incredible. Once again, this is just great play here by Stardust, and he is going to bring down the third, the fourth, everything, and what we'll see is that fourth going down. I think Hyun may just GG right there, but if he doesn't, Stardust will go to the main base and then look to kill everything anyway.
GG. Hyun surrenders, and Stardust opens up with a 1-0 lead over our Quantic Zerg.
Nice game there by Stardust, looking really, really good here. Takes another win from another Zerg player. 2-0 versus Violet just before this, and now is leading in this best of 3 against Hyun.
And I think that's a very good point to make. He also just took out Violet. He's feeling quite strong in this Zerg versus Protoss match. I guess just overall, really, against these strong opponents of these Zergs. So you're going to be confused here about my races. But what's really, I think, important to keep in mind is he does know Hyun. That game had a very awkward start with a very fast pool. No real Zerglings made, though. And even Stardust recognizing that wasn't going to be a threat, going for the Nexus before the Photon Cannon, he didn't take the bait, really, and abusing the compositional choice that Hyun does prefer gave him such a huge advantage in being able to make that push and take the game.
Yeah, a pretty good game, and now the pressure is on here from Hyun, who definitely in his own mind was expected to go through to the semi-finals here, so we'll see how he's going to be able to muster a defense playing from behind. He's going to have to win 2 games in a row here. In the last DreamHack tournament, he fell short in the round of 8, losing versus Liquid Hero, if I'm not mistaken. Will he fall versus another Protoss player in the very same location again?
Well, it's going to be pretty interesting to see. The next map looks like it will be Acheron Wastes. Now, as far as Protoss versus Zerg goes, this is going to favor the Protoss later in the stages because he is going to have that easier third to secure. He's going to have that easier fourth base to secure later on. Apollo, what does Hyun do on this map if Stardust plays defensively?
I think he just needs to play greedy himself, in all honesty. You know, take a fourth, take a fifth. I'm not sure if Swarm Host is going to be the best thing for Hyun to use, but he definitely may use it. Swarm Host against a player like that, if you can keep on hammering away, be cost efficient with trades, build up a good bank. We've seen that so much in the recent Zerg vs. Protoss games where they use Swarm Host, build a big bank, and then start to transition and use different tech switches to really confuse their opponent. But we also could see just a normal Roach, Zergling, Hydra style play heading towards those Vipers. But that was a really unique kind of style we saw from Stardust that Hyun, he's currently watching the replay, just trying to figure out what exactly happened to him. With double forges coming down like that, you don't expect the Protoss player to just shoot out at 55 probes, as we saw, to come and get you. He wasn't expecting it. He got hit really, really without expecting it.
And I think one of the other plays that come into that with that composition setup that he had, the third base for Hyun was very late compared to a standard Zerg versus Protoss, where the Protoss player gets that early Nexus. Hyun maybe going for the Hydralisk. This is, he's held almost every type of all-in that a Protoss can throw, any type of push with just Hydras, but if he doesn't get that third base up in time, that's a lot less Hydralisks you can produce, and especially with those upgrades, it just wasn't a winning situation. I think if he does what you said, play a little bit greedier, get that third hatchery up at a good timing, he could still hold with that Hydralisk style. He just needs to be able to support more of them before that attack can hit.
And Hyun coming into this quarterfinals was, alongside Life, the only player to drop 2 maps in the entire of the tournament. That's it, just 2 single maps that he dropped in the group stage 3 and against Gumiho in the round of 16. But like Life, he's dropped a game here in the quarterfinals.
And, moving into this second game, spawning in the top left position as the red Protoss player, currently up 1-0 in this best of 3 series. From Team My Insanity, it is Stardust. Looking quite confident. He was able to flex his English skills, the power of Brad Pitt helping him to secure this match. And his opponent spawning in the bottom right as the blue Zerg. Coming in for Quantic Gaming, it is Hyun.
All right, remember Hyun did open up with that 11 pull in that previous game. Don't think he's going to do it this time, Nathanius.
No, I don't think that would be be quite the smartest choice to make, at least. This is a map where you can play the economic game. But we do see the majority of the time when a Protoss goes for a fast expand, a Zerg can almost always get on 3 bases without much issue. The problem with this map is that the Protoss can also get on the 3 bases without much trouble. He's going to go for the fast scout. We see the placement of the first pylon for Stardust. Shows he wants to go for the Forge expand again. And now with this scout, we're going to see a little bit more of a normal ZVP startup.
Yeah, we should do for sure, as we do have that 14 spawning pool coming down. And the 14 spawning pool can actually test the natural ramp of a Protoss player here for sure, but it's such a large ramp to actually wall off. So he may decide to test it. He doesn't necessarily need to, of course.
No, it's not the biggest deal ever. He could just throw it on the Forge, play it perfectly safe like he did the last game, even get the Nexus before the cannon, but you make an interesting point, because if he does go for the Nexus first, he might be vulnerable if the Zerglings can get into a good position. He does have the drone headed down towards the natural, and it is going to be a Forge opening. And with that Forge opening and not even being able to get down a pylon block, this is a pretty nice setup here for Hyun.
Yeah, I mean, nothing too big, just small little things here. As I mean, he doesn't even necessarily need to build any Zerglings once again here. He may just build a single set to get rid of this probe to allow him to take the third base, but he doesn't need to go up more than that, in all honesty. He's forced his opponent, you know, even though he hasn't seen it yet, but he's forced his opponent to go for Forge instead of Nexus first, just in case of anything, or Sixlings or something were to come down, and the Warlock's going to complete. The question is now, is Stardust going to do something aggressive again? Is he going to go for a faster, you know, a robotics facility? Is he going to play normal and get a Stargate down? Is he going to do some just straight out gateway all in? There's a lot of variety from Stardust players. Another build that I hadn't seen from him this weekend. And he just brings variety, which makes him such a difficult player to play against.
And the cool thing about that is, you know, he is, you know, Korean player, like you said, one of the first Kespa players to really start getting into this game, and he's spent a lot of time playing a North American ladder. He's lived in North America, playing a lot on the European ladder as well, and this is kind of given, you know, a different look here to a player of his skill level, where he can pull out these interesting builds and really show some sick games.
Well, he has a probe hidden down the bottom left here. We'll have to just follow the tracks on what that probe's actually intentions are, because ideally he'd like to go back home and start mining, bringing in some resources. So we'll see what that probe's going to do for the rest of the game here, as the Cybernetics core is on its way down inside the main base. Gas has been taken, and now as we wait for the Cybernetics core is where Stardust has this opportunity to think through exactly what he's going to do. You know, is he going to go for something crazy? Is he not? Is he going to try and start to build a strategy around taking a fast third base? On a map like this, why not? Especially considering if you go for a massive 2-base play, it's a massive open wide map. You get surrounded a lot easier. You have to spend a lot more force fields than you would do on a smaller map. Naturally, this map just pushes you into taking a fast third base, and going against the grain may not be wise.
Yeah, I don't think trying to go for anything crazy aggressive will pan out quite as well as it did in the last game with the setup that Hyun usually goes for. In fact, I'll even go so far as to say that the robotics play was still really not that bad of an idea. If you go Stargate versus Hyun, he's a man that loves his Hydralisks, and going for a timing, you know, he's won so many games with counter pushes versus Stargate openings, because you can go straight for a Colossus afterwards, but he hits that punishment quite well. We do have a Zealot coming up here to poke away at the third base. Cute Zealot, Zergling micro. He's not going to lose anything to that Zealot, and defends the third base quite well.
In the main base, the gas is actually not being mined from. I was checking it from Stardust right now. The left-hand side, he's not mining gas. This means he's going to have a much more set of minerals. He's going to throw down a bunch of gateways with +1 attack. He is looking to end it really fast here. He may be able to pick up the 2-0. A probe, that same probe is still down there. Chronobus going into the Cybernetics core. This is what he wants to do. All the gateways are coming down. That Overlord is not in the right position to see this. Hyun could lose 0-2.
And the important thing to note is that he usually gets that Roach Horn a little bit later. It has now just started, so he's not going to go straight to Hydralisks. But if he doesn't scout this, that's where things are going to get a little bit difficult. Now, he is going to take a gas inside the natural expansion.
The natural gas is a fake. He's like, all right, the Overlord's like, all right, he's going to take a natural gas, cool. That means he's teching up, cool. Probably looking towards an expansion, cool. No, in reality, he's going to hit really hard here. This is major mind games coming from Stardust.
It's absolutely fantastic mind games. Hyun, he still hasn't really started a bunch of unit production. He has 3 Overlords about to finish. The Roach one's about to finish. He sees this pylon going down in the bottom area of the map. The Zergling's already tagging it, so we'll see the Zergling production increase. The Roaches are on the way. The lair is about to complete. If Hyun holds on here, he's going to have quite a significant advantage in this game.
To be honest, the drone count isn't that high at this point. It's only at 50, so he's going to be able to make quite a few units. Roaches and Zerglings are on the way. It's going to come down to micro. Look, 52 supply to 80. Hyun may have enough to defend this just because he's building so many units so early on.
Another really important thing to consider, the +1 attack is done. The Zealots are going to chew through those Zerglings like Swiss cheese through a cheese grater, basically. And this is going to be incredibly important because with the lower Roach count, since he doesn't have quite as many of them out, he is going to be able to get on top of these units. The Stalkers are pressing forward. He's trying to move in towards that third base of Hyun, but he's kind of just sitting back, balling up his units. Apollo, he's heading over towards that third.
There's 28 Zerglings in production. I actually think this is just going to get squished. I think it's going to be really easy for Hyun to hold this, in all honesty.
And he is going to be able to crush through a lot of those Zealots. You know, the number of the Zerglings kind of going over the upgrades, and Hyun smashing through a lot of these Stalkers. The Roaches are getting the hits, and once the Zealots are dead, those Zerglings are going to surround the Stalkers and prevent their escape. But the Zerglings do get taken out a reasonable pace by these Zealots. You make a good point, though. He does have a lot of more Roaches in production, and Hyun, he's doing everything he can to hold on to this. He's not dead.
I think the biggest problem with this build is that Stardust never had a close enough pylon to do this from. It was spotted nice and early, and Hyun clears up the first wave. Pro production has begun again. This seemed like a very easy hold here for Hyun. This pylon was spotted nice and early. As I said, 50 drones was the mark where Hyun started his unit production. If he had squeezed in 10, 15 more drones instead of units, that's when I think Stardust build would have worked, but unfortunately not. That's not the case.
And now we are going to see the Roach speed begin. He's actually going to start up a macro hatchery, it looks like, in his main base. Another photon cannon going down to prevent the possibility of a counterattack. Hyun is a guy that loves to go for those counter pushes if he smells blood, but another pylon going up. Stardust, it looks like he's got more units on the center of the field. If he gets caught here by all these Roaches, this could be pretty disastrous.
Yeah, he's going to continue to move forward here. Another pylon, an aggressive one being put down. And cancelled. As he realizes this is not working. Robotics facility is down as well now, as he's going to start to make his way towards the third base. But this is giving Hyun the opportunity to drone up. He's got +1 attack on the way. He's got Roach speed on the way. He can actually just throw down the layer throw down the Hydralisk end. Now he's at layer. This is a very difficult position for Stardust to play from.
Yeah, a bunch of Overlords just finished. He is going to continue to produce the Roaches. We do have the Infestation Pit coming in now. The second Forge and the Twilight Cancel with that robotics facility. Stardust is going to try to get those upgrades going again, but Hyun might just try to go for a numbers game and just bowl over the not-so-quite large army of Stardust.
I mean, as you can see, he's already 50 supply behind. This is obviously a terrible position to be in for Stardust here. Hyun is building a ton of units. 10 more Roaches on the way. And he's going to start putting pressure on here. He has Roach speed, so he's going to be able to move forward here. Maybe snipe off a pile.
Wall isn't up. The Zerglings will sprint right on by. The force field keeps the Roaches from coming in, but that's that threat inside the main base now. Those Zerglings trying to get on top of those probes. 2 Zealots do get warped in to deal with that, but he's kind of splitting the attention of Stardust right now. And, with the force fields, he can't really bust into that natural just yet.
162 supply here. 13 more drones on the way, as well as the Hive. So Vipers are going to be coming out into this game very shortly. And finally, some Evolution Chambers coming down. He hasn't actually upgraded anything at this point. There is an Evolution Chamber making his +1 attack, but he hasn't got anything quite now. But with 3 Evolution Chambers, 80-odd drones, the options unlimited from Hyun. Can do anything and everything.
Yeah, he's basically, the sky is the limit, I guess, is the best way to put it. And he is going to move in with these Roaches, going over towards that third base of Stardust, getting a couple solid hits off the force fields, pinch away about 6 or 7 of those Roaches, and now he's going to be able to get a couple better hits. The first Immortal, at least, is going to be able to do some damage. That third Nexus, though, he does want to at least slow this down, get something significant here for the attack that he's made. He hasn't killed any sentries. He has not yet killed off this Nexus. It's getting very low. I think he will have to cancel it. He will, but the Roach is now getting on top of these sentries. This is where things get a little bit scary. He will retreat, though.
Could have squeezed in a couple of force spheres to trap. Could have squeezed in a couple of force fields to trap those units, but his sentries were a little bit too far back there, unfortunately. It would have been nice to kill off those, but with the economy that Hyun has, 26 Roaches back up, he's up to 767 supply, easy. He's just racing up, and at this point, Stardust is going to have to try and do something. He really can't play from a cancelled third base against a Zerg player on 4 bases now.
These roaches giving chase a little bit to this army. Not going to do too much, but Apollo, 3 Vipers about to get on the field. He has Burrow now. He's going to be able to do a little bit more cute micro with his units. And the most importantly, the Vipers. The real question is, when you're in the situation where there's not any Colossi on the field, nothing like Void Rays, what do you abduct?
The Immortals. The Immortals need to be brought over. And if they fall down, this is just a bunch of gateway units with a couple of upgrades. As the upgrades for Hyun, he has 3 coming in. So the longer this game goes on, the better it becomes for him. But these Vipers just want to bring in the Immortals, and once they go down, it's just, like I said, a bunch of gateway units.
Yeah, that's a great point, especially since those force fields won't do too much if Ultralisks step onto the field. And we do have him moving his units in position to defend that base. We do have the Vipers here now. He's going for actually setting up his army to go for a complete swallowing of this force. Will he have enough? Force fields locking the army on the right side. He's abducting the Immortals into the heart of these roaches. The Zerglings hitting in from the left side. The Zealots, actually a little bit of blinding cloud action, messing with the AI here. But the Immortals on the right side still alive for Stardust.
Yeah, still alive here, but he's still down 70 supply. 31 more roaches are coming in. Some good force fields there, picking off the Vipers potentially too, as a couple of them do survive here. These roaches are going to get brought down, but still, 35 roaches. Behind this, the economy is insane. There's so much lava available, so much production available. 41 roaches there we spiked at. Immediately, almost back up to 200 supply.
And now doing a little bit of that cute micros I mentioned with those burrowed roaches. An observer immediately starts. He realizes the threat that's here, but Hyun's +2 attack about to complete. He is still trying to get a good jockeying for position around this army. More roaches streaming forward. There's a lot of gateway units, but not as many force fields as there were before. He's going to try to run around them, but Stardust, he's still getting the good force fields. He's making these engagements as cost-effective as humanly possible, given what he has available to him.
And the Immortals trying to get pushed onto the other side of the force fields here. And it's all a numbers game here. 60 more roaches on the way. Hyun is overpowering his opponent. That aggressive tactic, that aggressive gateway push did not work, and Stardust, unfortunately, is paying the price.
He completely loses his army outside of the area. He's trying to get the third base back up, and now he has nothing to defend it. There's the GG. Stardust succeeds 1-1 between these two players.
Back to an equal standing as we get ready for map number 3 now between these two players. A lot of thoughts here from Stardust, who tried to play mind games, tried to trick his opponent. Unfortunately, though, it was a little bit too easy for Hyun to see the pylon, see a probe in the middle of the map, build units nice and easy, saw it. If he had built drones, like I said, it was a second. It really was in seconds. If he'd squeezed in 10, 15 drones without seeing the probe and pylon, it could have been a different game.
And that's those are the little differences that really, define who is the top dog in these matches. As far as game number 3 goes, which is going to be on Neo Planet S, the mind games come to an end at some point, or we see the ultimate fruition of them. What kind of build are we going to see on arguably the worst map to take a third on as a Protoss against Zerg currently, when these players know each other so well?
Yeah, I mean, Star Station and Neo Planet S is so difficult to actually be on as a Protoss player, so I don't know, does he try another 2 base? This is great for a 2-base play if he wants to try and do something aggressive like that. Likewise, Hyun knows that's a possibility. This is going to be a tense game no matter what happens.
Yeah, not really too much else to add on there. I feel like as far as strategy goes, Hyun doesn't need to change up too much. This is a map where we could see some decent gateway expand type builds where they can do damage, but there's so much mind games that we've already seen. Trying to call what exactly either of these guys would do would be a bit silly, to be honest, on our parts, because these two guys, one more win, they advance to the round of 4, they get into DreamHack Winter. There's just too much at stake here, really, for them to do anything too crazy, I think.
And of course, there was Liquid Tasia with his little manager, Robin, getting ready for the semi-finals. So we'll see how things are going to shape up. We are now 1 game away from entering that semi-final. Just 1 game, and this 1 game is double the prize money for both players, WCS points on the line. And remember, top 4 guarantees themselves a spot at the DreamHack Winter overall finals this year.
And now we do have players in the lobby. We're set up. We're ready to get into this. So, I mean, all mind games aside, Apollo, Neo Planet S, PVZ, what's the standard go-to for this map for both races?
Oh, the standard go-to here for Zerg reactionary, just lots of scouting from Overlord. You don't really need to do anything. The standard build should be spawn and pull hatchery, get the gas down, get Zergling speed, but scout. Figure out what your opponent's doing. On the other side of things, for Protoss, anything. Just, Nexus first is fine, gateways are fine. They're in control's ducks. He's been playing with them all afternoon as he sits next to me. He'll be playing with them later on as well. But yeah, the standard go-to for Protoss player is most likely you can go gateway expand. I don't mind a gateway expand here. Yeah. But is that kind of something that Stardust likes to do?
He's opened up Forge both games. I'm not sure I'm not sure this is the time where you want to change that up. And this is going to make things interesting because it is a small map. And like you said, Hyun will have a great opportunity to scout with the layout of this map. But before we get into that, spawning in the bottom left position of this map that is Neo Planet S, our red Protoss player, tied 1-1. It is My Insanity's Stardust. Getting ready, the final game in this best of 3 series. And here is his opponent in the top right position as the blue Zerg. Coming in for Quantic Gaming, it is Hyun.
All right, so it's not a gateway expand as we can see here. It is going to be a pylon on the low grounds for Stardust.
I feel like this is as much as we would expect, to be honest.
Yeah.
Kind of just talking about he hasn't gone for this build. Changing it up now might be a bit risky.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why we'd see the change up is, gateway expand really helps hide what you want to do. Forge expand, it's a little bit more predictable, a little bit more easier to follow what the Protoss player is doing based on his gas timings, based on your Overlord scouting. But with a gateway expand, you can hide a lot of things because it's all coming a lot faster before Overlords can get in position. You have a Stalker out nice and early to prevent any Overlord from getting in. That's kind of the main reason we see gateway expands on a map like this as well, because it is to help. And also, the cybernetics core is faster, right? So the tech is faster too.
Now, Paul, I have a question. We saw in both games a pretty early probe scout from Stardust. This game, he's chosen not to send out a scout after that pylon. He is going to go for what seems to be a Nexus first build, but why not scouting, especially on a map where the rush distance is so small?
Well, when you scout, if you want to go Nexus first, you don't scout, right? Because you want to get it as fast as possible to make sure that you have the Forge down as fast as possible too. That scout and probe costs you money at the end of the day. If you go ahead and scout, you're still planning to go Nexus first, and he goes for an early spawning pull rush, you don't quite have the resources to set yourself up for a defense if you're already planning to go Nexus first.
Yeah, and I think that's also interesting in correlation with how easy it is to wall off. If he was going for a fast pull, he could block it off much more quickly with this Nexus first build. So good analysis. And, well, we do have the gas being taken by Hyun. He has scouted this out. And as far as what he would do with this, on this map, can he really be aggressive with how easy it is to wall off?
Not really, no. That gas here is definitely just for Zergling speed. The other option is for him to tech up in a weird way, up to lair or something, but that's not how Hyun plays. Hyun is very much so a player that will get Zergling speed, will make sure you don't have a pylon across the map, and he just actually cancelled the cannon there.
That's a pretty interesting decision from Stardust.
But what for? To squeeze in the cybernetics core and extra gas? Why did he cancel that? I guess obviously he knows that his opponent hasn't built anything, and I guess at the end of the day, it's 150 minerals, or a little bit less because he's cancelled it, that he has in the bank that he can use elsewhere. Fair enough, he feels like, okay, he gets the cannon down afterwards. I think it was maybe to squeeze in the cybernetics core just a little bit faster. I'm not actually sure, I wasn't looking at it precisely.
It's a weird decision, but like you said, if he gets the cybernetics core faster, knowing there's no units coming, it's
sure, why not?
Yeah, it's a bit unorthodox, but it does get the job done, and he will have the cannon for defense. So it's just a little bit later than maybe you would normally see one, and it kind of reminds me of canceling a zealot before you want to expand, just get the minerals a little bit earlier. But he is going to scout out, and he sees no third base yet for Hyun. The Zerglings will be able to shut that down. +1 attack on the way for Stardust, and just a few Zerglings for Hyun.
All right, I'm really watching closely on what Stardust wants to do here. He doesn't have a mothership core out yet, and he is sending a zealot across. The Stalker's on its way too. Cybernetics core's down, and he's about to reach 100-ish gas. He's got 3 in each of the gases in the main base. He's going to have a tech choice available to him any second. Like, he can throw down the robotics facility now. He can throw down the Stargate in a second. Zealot is going to get surrounded here. So it was really nice play there by Hyun to actually get the right amount of Zerglings out to deal with the Zealot. But no tech choice down yet. What is it? What is he doing? Okay, there it's coming down on the natural. Robotics facility.
How do you feel about this decision to get the robotics facility on this map, at least? I mean, there's a good amount of choke points by the natural as far as going for Colossus play, but we haven't really seen him go for that style at all anyway.
Yeah, he may try to play the game out very similar to how he played the first map out. If you look at it, if he tries to take a fast third base, when you go for this style, you usually have a lot more gateway units because you're focusing on gateway units, not going all the way up to a robotics facility or something, right? I mean, robotics bay. Therefore, more gateway units is much better in an open area space because you have more sentries, have more units, than it is to actually try to get Colossus and have a smaller army where it's a lot harder to defend.
I think you're spot on with that prediction. We actually have a second Forge once again and that Twilight Council. So we're going to see, once again, like that Belshir Vestige setup, the heavy upgrades and the very large number of gateway units being supplemented by maybe an Immortal here or there.
Yeah, so here comes the extra gateways coming down. So we should want to go to a total of 3 to 4 gateways and then start to try and expand. Like warp in sentries as soon as warp gate's done, get the Zealots down and get across and take that third base. Behind this, he is getting his upgrades down. The big question is, does he now go for a timing around 2 +2 attack on +1 armor against Hyun like we saw in game 1? Or does he play it out? Does he get +3 attack? Does he get +2 armor? Does he try to get up Colossus and High Temper and whatnot? Because that's going to be a big point to this game. Because if he goes for that attack, you know, we could see an easy win again because it was easy for him in that first game.
Yeah, and one of the other interesting things that's going to come up here is we have somewhat of a later Militia Core. As far as getting the energy set up for it, when he wants to go for this timing, it's going to be based off of this 3 bases. He's not looking to attack just yet since he won't have recall available. Now, Hyun, getting his Infestation Pit, getting that Hydralisk Den, he still hasn't actually really committed or made roaches. So as far as what he's going to be doing in the later stages of this game, could we see him go for that Hydralisk play again, straight into the Vipers? It's a style that he really likes to do, but he couldn't get full into the swing of it in that first game. He died right as he was making that switch. Could we see that same exact scenario happen again?
Yep, I think we are going to. And the thing is that he's actually spotted the second Forge, so he knows what he's playing against. And he's going to focus very heavily on Hydras here, whether he's going to try to go up to Vipers to use Blinding Cloud against this kind of attack, if that's what we're going to see coming. I'm trying to watch very closely on what Stardust is doing. He's about to throw down a couple more gateways. His probes are at 53, and I'm going to watch his probe count because he's currently approaching +2 attack and +1 armor. He's at 54 probes, 55. He's stopped probe production. Look, we don't see any. Okay, never mind. He's got one more coming. But is he now going to move out? He's got another Immortal on the way. That's going to take quite a while to complete. No, not a second upgrade coming from that Forge. If you're going for 2 Forges, why would you not build another upgrade? I think he's going to go for it here, Nathanias. I really do. I believe it now. He's going for it. He's going to go. He stopped probes. He stopped probes. Here it is. There it is. He's going to go for this.
This is the same style of attack that we saw on Belshir Vestige. The Zergling does spot some of these units moving out. The question is, how much is Hyun going to have to hold as he actually steps back? He's going to send a hallucinated Phoenix to at least scout out for perhaps the counterattack. And look, that Phoenix might run right into these Roaches and Hydralisks that are coming across the field, Apollo.
All right. Well, he's getting the Hydras down. He's gonna what Hyun's gonna do to try to defend this is just make an amazing amount of numbers, and that Viper, is it gonna be to try to drag the Immortals in? Is it gonna be for a Blinding Cloud? He's only got 1 Viper, remember, but still, Hyun has a potential of 184 supply to go up to. He's got a lot of breathing room right now. Doesn't have too much gas. He may start to throw a few Zerglings into this. Anything's a winner here. Just get as many units as he can, because this attack is coming and this is gonna be deadly.
I mean, I already feel like he's done a pretty decent job of at least preventing the attack from coming immediately. He hasn't taken an engagement, he hasn't lost anything, and this is the part where some of those upgrades start to trickle in. He's now getting the Hydralisk speed, and look how many Hydralisks he has. This is where Hyun is going to become most comfortable. He can use the Zerglings as a buffer to try to get behind the units if he wants to. Yeah. He has 44 of them, but now Hyun, he's playing the game that he wants, but that upgrade advantage is still in favor of Stardust, and with good force fields, he can pinch this army apart.
Exactly, so good force fields means Hyun has to come from many different angles. Coming in 1, if he just goes there, he probably dies. The force fields would be too good enough. He needs to spread his units thin, maybe try to come from behind, try to find a different way to make Stardust use as many force fields as possible here. He needs a full surround. He's almost maxed out. Hyun is almost maxed out. It's the 13-minute mark. There's an incredibly fast max out here from Hyun. But does he have enough units? Will the force fields be good enough?
It's going to be, it's a pretty close call. You know, we could see him use the Blinding Cloud to try to at least slow down some of the units while he kills off the Zealots. Manages to pull the motion core. There's not going to be any time warps available. He throws down one, not really in the most advantageous position, but it also means if he commits, he is going in. And here he comes. A great arc for Hyun stepping up here. The Zealots are behind the rest of the army. He's going to be able to take out a lot of these units. The Force was actually going to end up helping Hyun to an extent as all these Hydras can still fight while this attack is going on. He's holding for now, shooting through a lot of these units, but additional force fields coming in. Another warping of Zealots. Stardust supply dropping below 100. Hyun is holding strong for now, but this attack can still do a lot more damage. He still has the most important units in this, but all of the force fields are now gone.
Is this timing going to work? A lot of Zerglings are coming here, but there's so many Zealots here. I think Stardust may still do this despite a great spread, a great max out from Hyun, and this is an incredible push, an incredible timing. Hyun has so much money in the bank, but Stardust, he's on the verge of doing this. He's about to break down the third base. He's got a lot of units pushing towards the natural as well. What a push from Stardust. What a great design build.
And the drones all taking out the third base. He's pulling them from the natural. He's got the Vipers dragging in those Immortals, but what is he going to kill them with? He's using the drones, getting us around. Might be able to pick off one of them, but is he going to be able to stop this push? I don't think so.
Good. 2-1 versus 1-0. He's going to do it. He's breaking through here. Look at, he's killing all the drones. Oh, nice pick up there by the Vipers. The Immortals go to the high ground, and Hydras come out and kill every one of them. It's 112 supply to 78. More and more units are coming in.
And this is just a really difficult spot. Those Vipers, they're pretty cool, but they can't kill anything. And with the Queens and the Hydras trying to hold here, he's still going to lose that third, still going to lose the natural, gets the force fields off, and I don't think he can stop this attack.
This natural's gone down, and Hyun is on one base. Stardust remains with 56 probes versus 24 drones. This is terrible for Hyun. More sentries come in, and it doesn't even matter if they all die here. The economy from Stardust is so good. He's able to keep on powering. A Viper just pulled an overload. I don't even know what we're seeing at this point. But Stardust is doing an 88 supply to 44 here, Nathanius.
And now he's going to step into that main base, the charge lots, sweeping in, battering away at these Queens and these Roaches. The transfuse goes down. He's got Archons coming in to help support this with that extra damage versus the bio. And Hyun, well, right now I think he's just digesting the situation of this game a little bit. There's not really much he can do. The Roaches won't be able to do too much. Those drones trying to get in with their fisticuffs, but it's not going to be able to stop this next attack. GG from Hyun. Stardust will advance to the round of 4.
His team is very, very happy with that win. He moves on to the semi-finals in incredible timing. Game 1 and Game 3. What a play.
Absolutely fantastic control here. We're seeing him really utilizing a bit of those mind games. He went for that same attack that did in game number 1. Hyun a little bit better prepared for it this time around. He had a better spread, but those upgrades, that difference is so much. And you can tell, like the camaraderie immediately going in there to talk to him about the series that he just played against his friend.
Yeah, please give it up for Stardust.
Okay, very good. Just going to try to answer in English. Excellent. This has been a tournament of upsets, Stardust. A lot of people going into this did not quite know who you were, and you are making a name for yourself, defeating an amazing GSL finalist in Hyun. What does this match mean for you? Is the PVZ matchup, is it one of your favorites? I mean, this is an amazing performance here. I guess I'm kind of all over the board, but what does this tournament mean to you?
PVZ 매치업도 잘하는지 자신 있는지 그리고 이 대회가 얼마나 중요한지 나한테 팬이 되게 유명한 선수 너 여기 올 때 모르는 선수였는데 사람들 4강까지 올라갔다고.
So actually this is my first DreamHack event. So it's very important to me because just first always very important. So and before this just I'm unknown guy, like Team Liquid. I'm just a beatable player, so so scared. Too many Korean player and good polygonal player. So, but this tournament I'm have many lucky because PVG is my best watcher. So I'm always self-confidence PVG. So. always think I can do. So self-confidence bring good results. So thank you.
Very good. So you've actually had a pretty interesting journey in StarCraft 2. You left the KESPA organizations near the beginning. You went to Team Light, actually, in North America, where you trained for a very long time. Now, with Team My Insanity, you're actually living in Switzerland. So you've had a very non-Korean experience, and you're doing very well. How have you been training, and do you think that it's been good training?
한국 안 살았는데도 미국 사다가 유럽 갔다가 지금 연습 어떻게 생겼는지 한국에서 연습도 안 하는데 왜 이렇게 잘하는지 연습 어떻게 생겼는지.
I think in LEDO, NA or EU, everywhere is very good, important partner help. So even not living in Korea is no problem. Just so, and we have internet, so I can do watching good player stream. So just to think myself is good.
Okay, very good. Now, one last question. With this victory, you have set up a match against Property Show. Show, in Swedish, I did find out, said that all Protoss players are slobs. That's roughly what it translated to. So he called you a slob. What is a slob? It's like a poop. So do you have words for Show?
쇼한테 말하고 싶은 거 있는지 그리고 쇼가 그냥 토스가 별로다고 그냥 똥 같은 거라고 그냥 장난으로 하는 것 같아요. 쇼한테 말하고.
He's a Terran player, by the way,
Yeah.
so you can see the irony that we're dealing with right now.
Just here is Sweden. So last Sweden player I will kill.
Ah, very good. Stardust, thank you very much. Good luck. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that means we have our semifinal matches ready to go. We're going to get right into those.